Once again, good morning. We gather on this fourth Sunday of Lent, much as on the third Sunday of Advent, and we're in a period of time where we put the purple aside for today, and we look at not so much the penitential time of the season of Lent, but we look at the light that comes to us through the presence of the Christ. Obviously, we know that there are four Gospels. The first three we refer to as the Synoptic Gospels: Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And it's always, when we say the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And there's a reason that we have that conjunction in there, because the first three Gospels are basically, when you come right down to it, sort of biographies of who this carpenter from Nazareth is. But the Gospel of John is a very different kind of theological treatise. It's more of proving that this carpenter from Nazareth is the Son of God. John goes through a whole different concept than the others. And as we see in the readings today, and the first reading was lengthy, and Brother William did a good job of delivering it. Thank you. In that first reading, we hear obviously about the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, coinciding with last week's reading of Jesus cleansing the temple in Jerusalem, the second temple. And as we said last week, cleansing the temple isn't just cleansing the building. Cleansing the temple is cleansing our temple, what we carry with us every day. And we're asked to let that light shine into the temple so we can get rid of the stuff that we need to get rid of. And we all know that none of us, even though some of us think we're perfect, none of us are. And we need to have the temple cleansed. This is why we're given this period of time before we celebrate the greatest feast on the Christian calendar, the Feast of the Resurrection. We're given this time to let the light come into us. We're given this time so that when we celebrate that day of resurrection, we can truly say the A word, which Father Vinny used. I like that list. I've never heard that before. The A word. What's the A word?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. We don't say that now. We don't use that at all during this time of Lent, so that we can really appreciate it when we hear it on that Easter Vigil, that Easter Sunday morning. But in order to get to that Alleluia, we have to do a lot of work before we're able to say it. The beginning of the third chapter of the Gospel of John, very interesting beginning. I know you heard a lot of words this morning, but I want you to bear with me as I read to you the beginning of chapter 3. A certain Pharisee named Nicodemus, a member of the Sanhedrin, came to Jesus at night. Right? No light. And he's looking for that light. He says, he called Jesus, he says, Rabbi. Now for a person who was a member of the Sanhedrin, to refer to somebody who they considered to be a rebel. Got to remember, these people who controlled that temple didn't want any kind of authority given to Jesus. They thought he was getting too much authority to begin with. How many times do we hear that the people said that he taught with authority? Not like their own teachers. So this Nicodemus comes to Jesus and he says, Rabbi. Quite a title to give him. Rabbi, we know you're a teacher from God, for no one can perform these signs and wonders you do unless by the power of God. Do we use the ability to do our wonders for the glory of God? I remember when my niece was born, I was probably 10 years old, and my sister got a card, and it said, "Be grateful for God's masterpiece." And in the second reading today, we hear that terminology as well. See, all of us, whether we wear a habit or whether we wear shorts or whether we wear whatever, we're all part of the masterpiece that God has created. Now, how do we take that masterpiece that God has created and give it back to God? There's a saying, I don't remember where it's from. Maybe Father Vinny or Father, maybe you might, I don't remember, Father Peter. But what we are is God's gift to us. And what we become is our gift to God. So if we're people that are filled with light, we have to give God that light back. Not just for our own sanctification, not for our own salvation, but that our light can shine. As Jesus is the light and He's shone in the life of His contemporaries, we have to do the same thing. Jesus tells us in the Gospel of Matthew, "Chris, you are the light of the world. Mario, you are the salt of the earth." This is what we have to be in order for us to be in that presence of God, not only today, tomorrow, but forever. And that's what we're called to be. Nicodemus, who came to Jesus at night, comes out in the open. He gets out of the closet he was in. Right? And after Jesus is on that cross, what does he do? He goes and asks for Jesus' body. Huh? And he puts it away in the tomb. He saw the light. That's what we're called to be and to see, so that we can live with God forever. Pray for me as I pray for you. May God bless us and keep us. May God's face shine upon us and give us peace, now and always.